Get ready for an unfair advantage over your competition. This is the Sales Edge podcast, where globally recognized sales expert and trainer Joe Pici helps you sharpen your skills for booking more appointments and closing more deals. And now, here's your host, Joe Pici.
Well, welcome back to the Sales Edge. This is Joe Pici, your host for podcast number 172. And we're fired up for all of you around the world and around the country. I want you to know that here in Orlando, Florida, it's 82 degrees, the sun is out, and we're fired up. Windows open, ceiling fans on, and what a great day. But today, our podcast, The Sales Edge, is sponsored by Pici & Pici and SMV Pro. Pici & Pici is a speaking, coaching, training, consulting company, and SMV Pro is our online membership portal where we do coaching, speaking, training live on Thursday nights. The rest of the time, it's all virtual downloads and videos. And both of those companies are focused on helping our clients achieve more, get in front of their target market, close more business, recapture lost revenue, build team culture. And so as we're moving on today, once again, I always like to let you know, Joe at PICI, email, and 407-947-2590. You are welcome to contact me with your disagreements, agreements, suggestions. We have plenty of that. We're getting rave reviews on our guests. They're doing a phenomenal job. And so thank you so much for all you do. Thank you for your loyalty. And hopefully, if it's not too late and you want to go on globalgurus.org and see if they're still taking votes and go to the sales division, I would certainly appreciate a vote for the sales division. Really working hard to stay at number one by globalgurus.org. So let's get moving on here. One of my favorite topics. I've been getting a lot of questions because we deal with, of course, our niche, our anchor. 85% of everything we do is sales. Sales training, sales coaching, sales speaking. That's our number one niche. And I get so many questions about transactional versus consultative. And, we're going to go into some aspects of this. It's an ongoing topic, and we could go on for days about it. But I'm going to give you some keys on the difference between consultative selling and transactional. Consultative and transactional, they actually have the same desired result. I mean, you want to gain clients. You want the deal eventually to come to a close. So the result is the same, but how you get there is two different ways. The whole thing about transactional versus consultative. I'm going to give you a little bit about transactional. Please understand, in no way, shape, or form am I putting down anything to do with this, okay? A lot of transactional selling comes from retail, where there's a lot of advertising that drives people into a store. They've already done their online homework. They already know what they want. They're shopping for price. They pick up the widget. They take it to the counter. The sales representative, even if they're walking around the store, they're really just helping assist the sale. Okay, the transactional seller, it's a simple sale. It's a short-term sales that focuses on product and maybe the lowest price. The client or customer already knows what they want. They already know what their needs are. So the salesperson doesn't need to know as much about the art of selling or really the details of the product. Some examples of transactional selling, what you'll hear is the one call close. I get requests all the time about, can you come in and work with our people on the one call close? I don't believe in that. 85% of sales is done between the 6th and the 15th contact. That is counter to what I believe in. So it's not bad. There's nothing wrong with it. Some people absolutely excel at it. They like it. That's what they do. The second is get to yes or no as quickly as possible. Once again, if you're looking for a fast sale or a fast kind of, you're getting rid of that client, that's what people are thinking. That's a transactional approach. Once again, I'm not taking opinion, I'm just giving facts. Number three, they master handling objections quickly. A lot of their whole thing is, how can I overcome this objection quickly to move on to the close? And so they'll do a lot of studying on, if money is the objection, this is what you say. If time is the objection, this is what you say. And I'm not saying there's never any of that in consultative, but there's less of it, because if you're consultatively selling, you handle most objections during the meeting. Okay, number 5, you're focusing on the close more than the process. They're really focusing to close on the product. All right. Now, the next one, they tend to talk more than they listen. In a transactional sale, what I've observed, what I have seen, is that the sales representative talks more than they listen. Next, they tend to discard a no and move on. So when they get a no, they're moving on. Remember, one call close. Remember, get to yes or no as quickly as possible. A no to them tends to be a move on. They walk into the store. They walk on the lot. They leave. And I have walked on lots, and I've walked into stores and walked out, and nobody ever followed up with me. So that's more of a mindset on transactional sale. They tend to pre-qualify people. So a lot of times in a transactional selling environment, they'll do pre-qualification, closing, and mentally they pre-qualified the person. Next, okay, they tend not to follow up with a no decision. So somebody says no, a transactional approach tends to end. That ends right now. They're not going to follow up with a person who says no. And I'm not saying this is 100%. I'm saying the word tend. They tend not to follow up with a no. They're moving on to the next one. Transactional sales is high volume, high repetition. Next, it's reactive versus proactive. Okay? Transactional sales, many times you are reacting, you are answering the price question quickly, your answer, is this in stock, quickly. So basically it's more of a reactive sale. And what we have to be careful of is inbound sales companies where they're fielding inbound sales, that they still need to use a consultative selling approach. That's where we're going now. We're going to talk about consultative selling, okay? Now, consultative selling is more complex. It's long-term processing, and it involves collaboration between the buyer and the seller. So I picture collaborative selling. I picture consultative selling. Instead of sitting across the table, you're sitting on the same side of the table. The client needs guidance to solve their problem. You are a professional, okay? This is what it's all about. You are being a consultant and a professional to help them solve problems. So the sales professional must know more about the product and service that offers a solution. But to offer the best solution, the sales professional must first develop an understanding of the client's business, industry, and needs. The interaction becomes more of a relationship than a transaction. So it takes more work to sell consultatively. You have to get more into their needs, more into their industry, more into what they do and how they do it. And so In that process, you're going to be spending more time together. It might not happen on the first meeting. And so relationships begin to build. Now, with that, here's some of the things that consultative selling can offer. It'll turn you and your team into professional problem solvers. So, in other words, when a company sells this way, then you're viewed by your clients as problem solvers. They're not looking at you as salespeople. They're looking at you as a problem solver. The second thing, you're going to be giving long-term solutions to your clients. So you're not talking about a widget here. You're talking about solutions that solve problems today and tomorrow, next week, next year. You're going to build long-term relationships with your clients. This is very important. One of the ways that you will continue to attract and retain clients is based on not your product, but how you sold that product. Did you really sell it consultatively? Did you build a relationship? Next, you're going to produce customized solutions, not generic solutions. We need to sell what they're buying, not sell what we're selling. The more you can customize, the more you can meet their needs, the more you can solve their problems, the more you can absolutely hit the mark, the longer you're going to have that client and the more they're willing to pay. You're going to build trust for you and your brand. You know, when your brand is tied into you, is tied into your client, is tied into trust. And if a client believes that you fully have their needs, their pain, what they're looking for, that's what you're there to take care of. It's going to build trust. It's going to build your brand. Your consultative sales strategy, the best consultative sales techniques revolve around identifying the pain, finding out their concerns, finding out what troubles are they having, what problems do they need to solve, and solving those problems. You know, it's not about the product or service itself. Instead, it's about the benefits and values, solutions your product or service can add to your client's life. So I always make this analogy. If you want to hang something on a concrete wall, what do you need? And everybody says, well, you need a drill. Well, quite frankly, you need a hole. And most transactional salespeople are going to sell the drill and not the hole. So as we're moving on here, we want to make a transition. We want our clients to view us a certain way. We want to view ourselves a different way. You want to go from sales professional to sales consultant. And so, do not think of yourself as a salesperson. Instead, consider yourself a consultant or a problem solver. That's the secret. That's where we have to get to be truly effective in this consultative sales arena. It's not your job to sell your product or service. It is your job to help your client to find the right solution if your goal is to help your client instead of close the deal. So when I walk in, I'm not there with the intent to close the deal. I'm walking in to discover and solve a problem. Now, let me give you some coaching points. I love coaching points. Number one, a characteristic of a great consultative sales professional is having active listening skills. In all of our sales training, we spend quite a bit of time on teaching the strategies, the tactics, the skills of listening. This is a lost art. But I'm not talking about hearing, I'm talking about listening. And so that's a factor. The second coaching point is consultative sales is a proactive behavior, not a reactive. I was on coaching the other night on SMB Pro, and we were on a coaching training, and one of the participants asked this question: how do you keep people from going right to price? Look, if people are asking you prices, you're being reactive. You are reacting. And so you have to turn it into consultative questioning. Now, number 3, you have to learn how to ask the right questions. The best consultative selling techniques is to ask the right questions to discover how you can best serve your client. And that's the key. I spend if I'm in a 20-minute meeting, 10 of those minutes of meeting is discovery. Okay? By doing this, you can personalize the solution based on the client's needs. Now, listen to me. Even if the solution does not lead to a sale, you will gain the client because of things they'll need in the future because they trust you. I'm not going to sell something to somebody that's not going to solve their problem because I'm not a one-hit wonder. I'm not looking for the quick deal. I'm not looking to ring the bell one time. So if what I do cannot solve that client's problems, I'm going to tell them, but it's going to raise trust. And when they need what I do, we're probably going to have a long-term relationship, which takes me to number 4 coaching point. Master communication styles. Be able to adapt to the client's behavior. I'm not talking about manipulation. I am talking about it is an art, it is a science, it is a technique, it is a skill to learn all of behavior styles, to be able to speak and communicate in the client's behavioral style. Become a professional at that. Number 5, sell from a process, not from the hip. Your client can follow a process. They cannot follow you just shooting from the hip, trying to be charismatic and cute. A process they can follow. Number 6, take time to discover their pain, their concern, their need. Take time to discover their desired results, what they want to accomplish, what's important to them, and take time to establish their timeline, not yours. Number 7, always lead with benefits, results, solutions, and value, not features or product. The product only solves the problem. You don't know if the problem is going to be solved by your product. If you don't, lead with benefits, results, solutions, and value and see if it matches. Number 8, sell what they need, not what you want to sell them. You want to play the long game. I know there are a lot of salespeople that go into a meeting with an agenda. This is the product I'm selling today. But it may not be what they need. And you use some cheap closing technique and they become remorseful that they ever signed a contract with you. I want them the day after the sale to know they did the right thing. I want them to know when we're executing, they did the right thing. We play the long game. Number 9, master the strategy for follow-up. Never stop following up. Took me 10 years to get Coldwell Banker. Took me 10 years to get Blue Cross and Blue Shield. I never stop following up. That's versus transactional is get on to the next one. I do get on to the next one, but I never leave the other ones behind. I'm always following up. And number 10 is to build trust. If you want to build a big book, if you want to build a big business, it's about how many trust relationships you have. And I know, and you know, and we all know, you're going to build trust better through consultative selling than transactional selling. I've got a ton of stuff on this. In fact, our entire 3-day boot camp and all of our training, whether it's outbound, inbound, whatever, is consultative. Everything is consultative. So this has been Joe Pici, podcast number 172. Fired up about that. Thank you so much. If this has been of value, can you like it? Can you share it? Can you write a comment on it? And we certainly appreciate your loyalty and look forward to our next guest. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening. New episodes will air each Tuesday and Thursday, so make sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and give us a 5-star review. The Sales Edge is sponsored by Pici & Pici Incorporated, a firm which provides training, consulting, and keynote presentations, empowering corporations and individuals to attract and retain quality clients for higher revenues and growth. Make more money in sales. Speak with Joe in person by calling 407-947-2590 or visit www.piciandpici.com. Spelled PICIAND, PICI.com.